how to change your negative thoughts. Welcome to the Hopefulist with me, Wendy McClure. This is where we turn those nasty, negative thoughts into positive and work toward a happy, fulfilled life. Now, let's get started. Hello, and thank you for joining me today on the Hopefulist, starting out with the quote of the day. Words and thoughts are total besties. They share everything, finish each other's sentences, back each other up, and pass information and emotions back and forth like secret notes in high school. Your thoughts and your words are one. So keep that in mind as you go throughout all of your days. It's also Grateful Monday. A couple of things I was grateful for from this past week. We had some amazing weather and just really warm, sunny days, which is so rare for us here at the shore. It's usually so cool in the springtime. So I really took advantage. I got outside, played a little pickleball, just sat out in my chair, read a little bit, sitting in the sun. Glorious. Total gloriousness. We also purchased some new chairs for the front yard. We don't spend a lot of time in the front yard except in the springtime. So we've got a nice little setup there now. So whenever the sun is shining and warmer up in the front of the house, we have a nice little area to go to now. And we had such a nice night over the weekend. On Saturday night, my husband built a fire in our little fire pit that we made outside. And it was a good fire. He did a good one. And we knew it was going to be a good one because he only does a really good fire when it's just the two of us. Because when we have company, for some reason it gets all smoky. It doesn't get as high. You know, it's one of those things. It's like Murphy's Law, you know. But indeed, our neighbors did join us for the latter part of the night. And even they commented, nice fire, Joe. Yeah, it was a good one. It was a really good one. In fact, I'm going to post a little bit of pictures of the fire later on my Instagram. So if you're interested in seeing how cool the fire was over the weekend, you can find it there. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little distracted with watching my dog who wants to play. You know, she was just over here eating and drinking and playing, and it's 7 o'clock in the morning. What is wrong with her? It's Monday. Everybody's tired. Go back to sleep. Go back to sleep, Tucker. So the topic for today, we're talking about noticing your negative thoughts and how that will free you from them. I used to be caught in such a negative thought pattern. Everything was the worst case scenario. I was the only one that ever got the short end of the stick. Now, no matter what I did, I just could never get ahead. I knew on some level this wasn't true, but it felt true. It's a horrible cycle that won't get better unless you break it. The most important thing I did to break it was to never give up trying. I read all the books. I tried a lot of the things, but nothing ever changed. But I kept reading and then tried harder. And finally, there was a breakthrough. One of the first times I remember realizing that I wasn't the only one that suffered from unfair situations was when I had started a new job. There were 4 of us who were all brand new. So the boss told us to go through the catalog, pick out some gear for us to purchase and we could wear. We all picked out some stuff. And then when it was delivered, one of the sweatshirts was out of stock. And for the first time, it seemed, it wasn't me. I remember thinking that it was the first time I witnessed someone else getting the shaft, though I'm positive it wasn't. But here was my thought process when something like that happened. The boss said she could order it when it came in, but knowing how these things go, the chance to order again wouldn't really come since everyone already had their stuff. So she would never get her sweatshirt. And if it had been me, I would have focused on the fact that I got shafted a free sweatshirt. It would seem totally unfair, and this is why I always thought crappy stuff happened to me. But it didn't happen to me this time. It happened to someone else, which made me realize I wasn't the only one in the world these things happened to. Yes, like I said, I knew on some level that this was already true, but I never admitted it. I also discovered she didn't react to the situation the same way I would have. At least not that I noticed. She was like, oh, well, no big deal. And went on with her life because you know what? Yeah, who cares? It was a stupid free sweatshirt, and it just didn't matter that much in the grand scheme of things. Yes, this is how serious I took every slight or seemingly unfair situation. It was just more evidence that life sucked, and especially did for me. Is it any wonder I was so unhappy all of the time? I just started reading a new book by Jay Shetty called Think Like a Monk. Jay spent years living as a monk and shares all the wisdom he learned in this book. If you don't follow him on social media, go do it right now. Yes, really, he's great. In this book, he talks about reducing or ridding yourself of negative thoughts. He says that by becoming aware of negativity, that will help you to spot the toxic impulses around you. He suggests you try not to complain, compare, or criticize for 1 week. Keep a tally of how many times you indeed do one of these things. And the goal is to see the daily tally decrease every day. Recognize the origin of your negative thought. Like my belief that everything that happened to me was getting the shaft and that I was the only one who suffered from this. When I saw that someone else got the shaft, because, honestly, I really never looked before. I was so focused on my getting the shaft, I didn't even notice when other people did. It made me realize that seeing someone else get the shaft didn't fit into my own inner belief and dialogue. I also saw that her reaction to the situation was much different than mine. It goes back to the fact that what you put your energy into becomes your reality. My husband and I used to watch HGTV all the time. We loved Love It or List It and Fixer Upper. I hope you're familiar with those two shows. They were pretty popular back in the day. Now, I noticed a disparity between the two shows. The first one, when unexpected problems came up that cost the homeowner more money, it was a big freaking deal. The owners would yell at the designer, say there wasn't enough money to fix that. In contrast, the same thing would happen on Fixer Upper, but they glossed over it. They just didn't make a big deal out of it. I realized this was the difference between my thinking that I only got the shaft and determining that maybe I just made too big of a deal out of these things. I know the thought of writing down all the things you complain about seems daunting, but it will be really beneficial in the long run. It will help you see things differently and demonstrate how you can live a completely different existence by focusing on the good instead of the bad. Put your energy into what you love instead of what you don't. Luxuriate in what you have instead of wishing for the things that you don't have. Just give it a try. Do it, let's just say 3 days, if a week seems too long. But again, the goal is to reduce the number of complaints day by day. That's why you have to do it more than one day. You have to see that you're actually making a difference. See how you feel as those days go on. It will feel difficult at first. This is because it's different, and your brain rails against anything that is new and not familiar. But keep it up. Your brain will adjust, and it won't feel so hard anymore, and it will be so worth it. So make a commitment right here, right now, to take notice and to write down every time for the next 3 days that you complain, compare, or criticize. We're going to get more into this throughout the week on social media. If you're not following me on the Hopefulist page and group, please do so. Just search for the Hopefulist on Facebook. And my account on Instagram is _Hopefulist. And you will find everything you need to get you through the week there. Thank you so much for tuning in this week. If you like this episode, please subscribe or write a review or share the post or the information with your friends. Invite people to follow the Hopefulist page or group or on the gram. I will be so grateful. Now go on out there and rule this week and be your badass self. You know, I'm always here cheering you on. Thank you for listening to The Hopefulist. Now, don't you feel good? Make sure you come back next week. See you then.